All right, so today we're gonna complete module 2, 1 minute InDesign, and we're gonna apply a decorative drop cap to your text. I'm looking at this in module 2 of our West Hills Canvas account. The first thing I'm going to do while I'm looking on West Hills Canvas account is I'm going to download the practice files that are available to us. So go ahead, and if you can click on those practice files, it's going to download on your computer. We'll give it a second to download. Shouldn't take too long. And I'm going to open that zip file, and I'm going to extract one folder. So the folder I'm going to extract is called Postcard. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to drag that into my Q2 InDesign file. Okay, so I'm dragging that into my Q2 InDesign file. Okay, and you can see that I've added it to my folder. All right, so now that I have that folder, Postcard, in my Q2 InDesign file, the next step is for me to open up InDesign. So to do that, I'm going to go to my Start menu, and all I have to do is type in InDesign, or start typing it in, and you'll see my top hit is going to be Adobe InDesign CS6. I'm going to open that file. I'm going to open that program, and I'm going to create a new document. So I'm going to create a new document. And for right now, because all we're doing is we're creating a short text document, and we're going to work on adding a drop cap. It doesn't matter what my settings are. So I'm just going to select OK again, and I'm going to have a new folder or a new file. Okay. From here, I want to add my text. So the text is going to be provided for me in the Postcard folder. So to get it, I'm going to go to File, Place, File, Place, and I'm going to go to my Q2 InDesign file on my computer. So again, just scroll to here's my Chris Rubin Q2 InDesign folder, and open up the Postcard folder, and you'll see it's very easy to tell which one is my text. It's called text. So I'm going to select text, and I'm going to say Open. And in the top left corner of my screen, I'm just going to create a small text box about this large. Right? We can adjust it later. And it's got some text that we'll be putting on our postcard later. The next step is now I'm going to create my drop cap. So to create a drop cap, I'm going to either double click in my text box, right? Or I can always get my type tool. And I'm going to just highlight the first letter where it says, please join us, right? So I'm just highlighting P with my type tool. So again, I have two ways of doing that. I can either double click in the text box, right? Or I could just grab my type tool and click in there and highlight the P. Now to create a drop cap, you'll see in your toolbar, I've got this drop cap number of lines tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the size of that letter that I've highlighted. In this case, I'm going to increase it eight lines, right? Now, I actually want it to be, and for me, it doesn't matter. You could choose to have yours be 6 lines, 5 lines, right? For me, I want to have it be a little bit larger. In fact, I want it to be the size of the whole of all my text. So you can see how I can play around with my text box to make it work eventually. Before you do that, though, the other thing you might want to do is you might want to change the font of that first letter. So for me, I want it to be thicker. I want like my P to have like a really large area that I can fill. And for that reason, not this large, because that took up my whole entire screen. But if I scroll down right? I can find something that's sort of in the middle, this Cooper standard, and there's no right or wrong answer here. Again, I just want to emphasize that. There's nothing right or wrong. It's all about picking what you think is going to look best for you. And now that I've chosen that text, it's really important that I'm going to just adjust my text box so that the text is on, that the text is all easy to see on those lines, and my drop cap is the same height as the rest of the letters. And again, that's not a requirement. You could have yours just be four lines high or whatever you'd like. So the next part is fun, right? Because now we get to start to design ours. And if you look, right, at the module itself, it gives you some ideas of what you can do. You can change the font style and fill colors to make your drop cap look like one of these options, right? Or you can do some additional, you can take some additional steps like I kind of mentioned I'd like to do, and I can add a background color or picture. So I'm going to start with that, right? To do that, what the first step is, I need to select my drop cap. I need to go to type and then go down to create outlines. And what that's going to do, you can see here, when I click here, it's going to make it so that I can select just my drop cap, right? So to do that again, I just highlighted my drop cap. I went to type, and then I clicked on create outlines. And you can see I can't do it again. I've already done it once, right? Once you've done that, you can kind of click away for a second and then click back on your drop cap, and it's ready to be edited. Okay, so then I can scroll down and I can see to fill my drop cap with wonderful artwork, colorful artwork, I can choose Object, Content, Graphics. So to do that, I'm just going to go back to Object, Content, and I'm going to choose Graphic, and you can see it puts this X through it. And in InDesign, right, the X always indicates that it's ready for you to place a file there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Place, and I am going to try this artwork right here, which I just downloaded, right? And you can see how I can move it around so that I could have this sort of like rainbow of colors. But to be honest, I don't love that. I don't really love the way that looks. I wanted more of a pattern. So I'm actually going to go to File, Place, and I'm going to grab a different image that I downloaded. And I'm going to place that in there, right? And so I've got this sort of Hawaiian flower pattern. And again, just like I just did, I can move it around so that it looks exactly how I want it to look. Now we don't have to stop there, right? It looks good. We've got this like filled graphic, but I can also go to my type, to my object panel or my object, scroll down, and I can also add some effects to my drop cap. There's two places that I can add effects. So I'm going to enlarge my InDesign screen real quick. I can either go to Object, Effects, and there's a bunch here, or I can go to the Effects panel. If you don't see one of these panels that you want to use, you can always go to Windows and then select what you want to add. It'll pop it up and you can drag it over here into the sidebar. So watch this. I'm going to go to Object, Effects, and I'm going to add a drop shadow. Immediately it adds this sort of like black drop shadow, but I might say to myself, I don't want it to be black. That doesn't fit what I'm going for here. So I can change the color from black to any color I want. This gives me a few swatches, but I can choose any of these and it'll give me the option to, adjust so I can create any color. In this case, I'm just going to choose the dark blue on swatches, and I've now created a blue drop shadow. I can change the opacity to be really hard, right? So it's dark blue, or I can change it so that it's a little bit more subtle. I'm going to keep it at 50%. I'm going to go back to Object, Effects, Drop Shadow again, And I want to add some noise. I always think this is kind of fun. It adds some texture to my document. And so you can see what it's doing. It's making it sort of pixelated. I can add that there as part of my drop shadow. You can go back and add as many different effects as you want. You don't have to just stop with drop shadow. You could add an inner shadow, a glow. You can bevel and emboss your drop cap. And so I just encourage you to play around with all of the different options, try and come up with something fun and creative. There's two last things that I want to do here. The first thing is I want to change my text color, right? So that it blends with this. So I'm going to change it from black to like a dark blue. That makes it look like everything sort of blends together better. And then the other thing I want to do, notice I'm going to go up here to my very top line between my drop cap and where my text starts. And this tool right here, it's called kerning. And what that's going to do is it's going to create some space between my drop cap and where my text starts. So you can see I've changed it from 5, I've changed it from 0 to 5 to 10, right? To 25. You need to find what looks best for you. So to me, that might be a little bit much, but I can manually choose a number like 30 or 40 and create that separation. And that's it. That's all I have to do for this project, right? Is I'm creating a drop cap, I'm adding some sort of artistic elements to it, and I'm creating a nice little text box. To finish this, I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to go to File, Save As, because I haven't saved it yet. I'm going to make sure that I'm in my own Q2 InDesign folder. And this assignment is called Apply a Decorative Cap to Your Text. So I should name it Ruben _ Chris _ and then I'm just going to call it decorative drop cap. So I know what the file is. I'm going to hit save. And then remember to submit it in my file, I'm just going to go to File, Export, and I'm going to export it as a PDF, Adobe PDF print. I'm saving it in my same folder. Hit save, export, and then you'll be ready to attach it. You'll be ready to attach it when you're done. All right. Thanks so much. Hopefully that helps.